Right, it says we've got an excellent connection, so I'm going to hit this go live button while it's saying that. It says we're live, so I'm going to read out the following. You are listening to Let's Go, the weekly anime podcast about weekly anime from Dynamite in the Brain and Secret of the Sailor Madness. So come along and hang with the Let's Go gang. It's Dwayne.
Hello.
It looks like he's getting ready to be shot from his background. And it's me, Brian, who hasn't updated his background for months. And on this episode, we are covering anime that aired the week of April the 1st to April the 7th, with a few exceptions. The first one is Uncle from Another World, Episode 9, The Ice Spirit Demands a Price for Its Cooler Magic. The flat is too warm in the middle of summer. This episode made me go on and look up, can I get an air cooler now before summer comes along? Because it's going to be 20 degrees next week.
Yeah, like it's very cold this week, but you know that shit is coming. But we did get a standing fan for the fucking heat waves last year that is still working. I did check, so we should be good.
Yes, because I don't
Good to
have
be
the
in Florida.
option to have a set up a shrine to an ice spirit with a very large fish head sitting on it.
It's about apartment size basically. If you don't have that kind of like through
Yes.
line that you can invite spirits in, you're kind of fucked. Like yeah.
Initially demanded a bull's head.
And they were he was looking up the prices of bulls on or a bull's head online because he didn't want to buy a whole bull, but it still was like what was it like 50,000 yen or something like that.
I
Something
can't remember. The first thing I
pretty
looked at was
big
the price of the actual
of the bull
bull in
itself, and
itself.
then
Yes.
yeah. But
Um,
when they went to get the fish for dinner or for lunch or whatever, it's just like it's like hello spirit, yes. Oh, he says the fish head will be fine. The spirit's like it's like an animal head on an altar. It's good.
and then the rest of the episode is checking in on what happened after he turned into a dragon and ran away last week. He then gets
They
attacked because
failed
he's a
to
dragon.
mention for ages into the episode what happened when they both turned into velociraptors at the end of the last episode. They sort of blasely wash over that, which is very funny. But yeah, he spent a few months as a dragon, wasn't it, or something like that?
Yes. Yeah.
Because it's like, yeah, my brain was overwritten by the thoughts of the flame dragon, and I could have stayed like that forever. That's the problem with shapeshifting, you know?
It is as the old D&D. That's you have to make the saving throw, otherwise you turn into the actual monster you were trying to turn into. Um, you lose your mind. So the elf is sent to deal with the dragon, and then realizes it's uncle, and
She wins him back with the power of true love and suplex him into the ground, obviously. Yeah.
yes. But then the debt collectors, for the money that she borrowed to buy back the ring that the uncle had pawned,
And they have a
show up.
special contract with her where she signed her own body as collateral, so he can do a spell invoked by the contract where he puts a choker on her. It's like, oh, we'll get quite the price for an elf princess. And the lads are kind of like, Uncle, you didn't say she was a princess. He's like, it's really common to be a princess. I mean, like 2 out of the 4 characters in Guardian Heroes are royalty, so I don't see why that's a problem.
Yeah, so they're about to cart her off when the contract is destroyed by Uncle waking up, and he's like, we're even. Thanks for saving me as a dragon. I've repaid my debt."
And also, just to doubly make sure, he took the ring off her again, put it on the captain of the
But
debt
that's the
collectors.
one. That's the one he's got, because she's still got the one
Oh, it's one of
later on.
his. Yeah, he's got one of the 7
Yes.
rings in existence. So he essentially proposes to the captain in front
Yes.
of all his men, like completely defanging him as a threat. And everyone's like, "Congratulations, captain." He can't get it off because it's too tight for him.
Yeah, and had she given him that ring in return for the ring he'd given her, that's why she's mad when he gives it away to pay
I
her debt.
think that might be the other ring that he nearly inadvertently married the ice one with. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Also, it was cut off. So it could completely cut the circulation off.
You're gonna need to go to a jeweler's for that, man. That's bad.
So she's getting ready to destroy everybody. But the power she's building up, Uncle mistakes for an earthquake and tries to rescue her from the earthquake, and they land in some mud.
They land in a swampy, boggy marsh underneath the ground where they were standing on, and she's kind of like, "Oh, you stink, you stinky orc," and he's like, "You stink," and it's it's a very meet cute thing, or would be if the uncle had any fucking cop on to the situation that he's in, because he's like, oh, I need to go take a bath. As a Japanese man, I like to bathe at least once a day if I can help it. And she's like, as an adventurer, you mightn't bathe like once a month on the road. And he's kind of like, ugh.
Well, no, because first of all, he asks her why she was in debt, and she explains the ring
Yes,
situation, and he's like, oh, you need to have done that. You don't need pieces of jewelry to make yourself look pretty.
yeah,
You're
you're
already
already
pretty
pretty kind of
enough.
thing. Like
Uh,
he's again, he's accidentally
yes,
doing well, but doesn't realize the situation he's in. Yeah.
yes, because she exists as a trope that did not exist before when he
Or yeah,
traveled
it
into the
wasn't
fantasy
common. Like
world.
he never got to that point in Evangelion. He just knew Sega sponsored it. That's
Yeah.
it. Mm.
Uh, yeah. So, and then we get this discussion of baths, and she's talking. Oh, as an adventurer, you just go and. Oh, first of all, she says he doesn't have to worry about the smell because you didn't smell bad when I sniffed you. No, I mean when I hugged you. No, I mean,
I mean, when I suplexed you as a dragon into the ground, yeah, that's because I got really close to you and I could smell you from that distance. So it's fine. Don't worry about it.
um,
So that brings up the whole bathing thing. Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
and then it gets flipped on his head where he's now disgusting that she, as an adventurer, only bathes once a month. Um,
Mm.
and oh, and then so that's pretty much the end. They're freezing in the flat. Uh,
Because they've left the magical
yes,
AC on with the ice spirit the entire time. So in the middle of summer, they have to huddle underneath a blanket for warmth, and
yes,
it's nice.
but it's better after the credits have rolled and they're thinking about getting some dinner. But then the uncle shows them another story when they got back to the town and they met up with Mabel, and he was checking the girls' stomachs for a parasite. Though, of
Because that was
course,
going around in town. Yeah, yeah.
yes, had not explained that before he starts whipping up people's dresses to see
Hmm.
if there's a parasite. And it turns out he's the one who's got the parasite, and that puts them all off their dinner. Um,
Mm.
yeah, it's
Also, they both kind of miss being dragons from the end of the last episode because you think like simply you don't worry about stuff like humans
yeah,
do. It's a nice way. It's kind of like desirable to be a big stupid monster. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think the elf is like drawn slightly older because they mentioned it's been a while since the pair of them have seen each other.
Yeah, yeah. Again, we're not sure of the time scale on this, but we know there's at least like 3 months or whatever since he
Yeah,
left the town as the Flame Dragon. So yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it's pretty good quality for.
Hmm.
I mean, obviously they had to spend more time on it than they planned, but it's not. He's not. I was worried when it came back it was going to look rough as guts, but so far it's been fine.
No, I think it has been time well spent from the look of it so far. Yeah.
Yeah. Then in Detective Conan, the culprit Hanzawa, episode 9, Dress Up Tonight. Hanzawa is worried about his fashion choices when his housemates describe him as being a bit of a hick. Uh,
And
he's
we
wearing
see, yeah, we see the logo, but not a shirt on him or anything, because again, he's a black silhouette. But
what's the
they
logo? It's
they think it
it's
might be a shipping company or something like that, is what they guess. It's got a picture of a
yeah,
dog in it. I remember that much.
yeah. Is it happy something? It's in English, so it's like
Yeah,
it's like oh you've bought a T-shirt just because it's got English words on it, you don't know what it means.
because it's
Um,
trendy. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so he's going to go
Or
around looking for actual trendy clothes, and so he goes
because
to a
he's
clothes
worried
shop.
everyone in town is taking the piss out of him. They're probably not,
Yes.
but the trendy clothes shop, the guys are on you, and it's like you can't really shop
Also,
in that condition.
quite possibly trying to get rid of evidence and sell it by selling it as clothes.
In this town, that seems pretty likely, especially when he goes to the secondhand clothes shop because he's just like, oh, fucking pre-distressed stuff. Because the other guy was talking about like distressed jeans and distressed shirt, and I was like, that's
Yeah.
pretty good. And he's like, oh yeah, we got some of those, and they're all like blood stained and bullet
But
stained, and
the shirt of the actual proper the new clothes shop is distressed beyond distressed, and it has got written in blood "help" on it, which does make you think uh, the guy was trying to offload evidence.
mm, mm,
Uh, yeah, so he's torn, and what can he do? He doesn't know he doesn't want to wear. He doesn't understand the trendy clothes at the trendy clothes shop, and the distressed clothes at the secondhand store is clearly stuff being sold by the family of a murder victim.
mm.
What can he do? And
or
then
or the shopkeeper's a murderer, and that's how he keeps in secondhand clothes. But
And then he
I don't know.
sees a really cool looking guy get out of a car, all dressed all in black, and he's like, "That's the style for me."
Oh, fucking all black. That's a timeless look. Always classy. So he asked in the shops, "Hey, have you got any black clothes?" It's like, "Ooh, we don't sell black clothes in this community." And as one old man points out, it's like, there's the curse of wearing black clothes. They say a weird young man will follow you around and chase you and shit. But here, I'll show you my special stock. And indeed, he is chased by a mysterious skateboarding young lad.
Well, first of all, though, he goes back home in his new black outfit. And everyone's like,
Yeah,
"Wow, that's really cool." We can't see what the outfit looks like. He just no
yeah.
longer has the logo on his shirt. Then he goes, "Now I'm going to go stride around town in my new, cool, trendy outfit." And then, yes, he senses that he's being watched first by Conan and then by Zero and the police who arrest him. And then he decides, I should probably stick with my hick t-shirt from now on.
And then we get a little bit of extra Zero. And what if Zero and all the police were wearing that same T-shirt? So yeah,
Yeah.
fun stuff.
Yeah, some fun cameos because it's Jin is the guy who he sees, who thinks he's super cool. What a cool guy! Get out of that car.
I mean, he's wearing all black. He's wearing a trench coat. He's got the long white hair. He's got the cool fedora, not that lame fedora. Yeah, it's good overall.
Yeah, and I love the design for Conan in this because he seems like more of a child, but also so much more threatening.
Like a child, but also like a child that's like a ghost, like a looming menace of him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh, but so 3 more episodes. Can he get this? Oh, because the other thing he was planning on spending the money on before it closed was he was finally going to go shopping for a murder weapon.
Yeah, he was kind of thinking about the different things he could have done when the guys insult his fashion sense. It initially seems like he's going to go out and buy a murder weapon to kill them all, but then he's like, I need to go out and buy new clothes, is the joke. He keeps getting distracted from the whole murder thing he came here to do. Next episode, his mom seems to be coming to town, so that should be fun.
Yes. And then we've got stuff which actually aired this week.
Hmm.
Tengoku Dai Makio, the thing you might know as Heavenly Delusion from its manga release, but not on Disney Plus. Episode 1, Heaven and Hell. So
Yeah,
we're in
it must be some instead of localizing a thing, we'll just
like
use the
internationalizing it. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Just easier that way for him.
So we appear to be in possibly two separate apocalypses, or there's possibly the same apocalypse, but
It
in
could
two
be the
different
same one.
situations.
Yeah, yeah. We start in one where it's a bunch of kids doing going to school within a dome type situation. It's very like, your promised Neverland, that kind of thing. Is like, this seems off, that kind of thing.
Yes, they're all wearing sort of gender neutral sailor suit uniforms.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Young-ish kids, but like probably into the teens, basically.
Yeah. Um, what happens there is
There's
there's one
one
kid who's
kid
getting
who can
premonitions.
Yeah, there's one kid who is super popular and he seems to like be good at drawing weird creatures and everyone wants to hang out with him. But there's the kid who's good at sports but not good at the test. But there's one kid who's like, there's going to be a pop quiz today, and it's like, what? How do you know? It's like, I just got a feeling. And it turns out there was a pop quiz. Her premonitions are always spot on, and later she kind of predicts that there's an outside of the outside. So, as her friend kind of points out, there's in my room, there's outside of my room, which is the school. There's outside of the school, which is the woods we have around the school. But apparently there's something outside this giant dome wall that we live within. So it puts her on the indication that there might be a rest of a world, basically.
Yeah. So it's like those people are trying to get out, and then outside we've got two more characters who are trying to find heaven. Or one's trying to find heaven, one has been hired as his bodyguard.
Yeah.
Um,
And she's escorting this, like, he's a teenager. He's like, I think he says 15, and she might be 18 or 20. She's not 100% sure. But you kind of think is like, why is she the bodyguard? She seems scatterbrained and stupid and stuff. But when they're confronted by a bunch of dudes who think it's two ladies that they could potentially sexually assault, she does have a ray gun. So I mean, that's going to help a bunch in that regard.
If you don't want to be spoiled about what's going on with her, don't look at the Wikipedia page.
All right. I like based off of that, I'm kind of like antsy. The whole like it's just like, ho ho, we'll take you to heaven, and I'm just like, no, creepy guys. But then they're completely defanged by the fact that she has a laser
Yeah,
gun.
and one of them is Iyami from Osumatsu. Uh,
That helps a little in terms of making him pathetic and not an actual threat. But the fact that that could be a threat was like making me. I was on edge for the whole of it. So when they do find a version of a place that is called heaven, I was still on edge for the whole fucking thing. I think that was intentional at that point, but still, how uncomfortable is this going to be, basically?
yeah, and the question is whether, yes, it's Kiriko is the woman and Maru is the boy. Also, Maru looks exactly like one of the characters who's in the other place as well.
That's one of the things that the girl with the premonition said to her friend, who she said, "We're gonna. Some people from the outside are gonna come and get us, and one of them looked exactly like you." Is the thing, which is weird.
Yes. Yeah. Also, Maru appears to be possibly more competent than the person bodyguarding him.
Yeah, there's nothing too mad in the dome. I mean, it appears to be like kind of our level of tech in terms of like building, but their class is being taught by a robot, but like a very
Yeah.
basic looking mechanical robot, like nothing too wild. And then the outside world, which I presume is happening at the same time, just because I've nothing else to go on, um, is our world. But apparently, there's been some post-apocalypse things because the towns are abandoned. The two lads outside are kind of seeing if a house has already been broken into to see if they could steal some canned food and shit. Yeah.
But there still seems to be a lot more working than you'd expect.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, there's some electricity, but that's probably like if you had like a solar panel or something like that, that kind of thing.
Yes, yeah, because when in the second half, they end up at this woman's house and she's got solar panels, but she says they don't store anything, so you can only use the electricity during the daytime.
Yeah,
Uh,
there's no battery storage. It's just it's on during daylight hours. And we did get kind of indications of something weird flying around the skies on a stormy night, and that's kind of confirmed when the girl in the dome kind of like is like, I wonder if there's something outside the outside, and then the director, she's wheeled out and is like, hey, what are you doing? It's like, I was wondering, was there anything outside? And they're like, you copped onto that, did you? All right, I mean, like, we got to tell you eventually. So yeah, there's an outside world, but it's filled with horrible monsters, and I assume that's not just the horrible monsters, but the humans who are out there doing nasty things as well. But yeah.
yeah. Also seems to be some sort of thing to do with tomatoes connecting the two stories as
Yeah.
well.
Do you like tomatoes? I love tomatoes. It's like, okay, so are you guys twins that you have the same interests and that, and also look the same? That kind of way.
Yeah.
It's an odd one.
Yeah. There's when the woman's house who lets them stay. She catches Kiriko trying to kiss herself in the mirror.
Yeah, because they were about to use her. Like again, her especially because it's like you nearly got assaulted by these fucking creepos, and then you threatened them with a ray gun to get out of there and get out of that situation. And it's like, oh, there is a place that we would call heaven, if you like tomatoes. And it's like an inn basically where they have electricity. She's got chickens. And as you once says, it's like, wow, it's so cheap. Are you sure? Like, I feel like I'm robbing you. Here, have some AA batteries. And it's like, oh fuck, that's actually really precious in this post-apocalypse. And it's like, this is too good. Everything's going too fucking well here. And she even has a bath. And your one Maru is she's got all scars all over her. I presume from being a bodyguard or something. I don't know. I haven't looked at the wiki.
Um,
But yeah,
Also,
she's gonna kiss
uh,
herself very teenagery kind of way. And she's like, I was just looking at the crack very closely.
uh, also, it's funny when she lectures them about how, as brother and sister, you should not be having sex. They're like, we're not brother and sister. It's
Like
like, oh,
that was the kind of embarrassing thing. She was like, I gotta bring up something with you. And I was like, oh, here it goes, here it goes. Fucking, she's doing something nasty. He's like, if you're related, like your kids, there can be complications. And it's like, we're not related, and that's not our relationship. So you're kind of reading into it because I think she's picking up on the fact that the teenage boy is into her she's not picking up on that. Because anytime she's like, "Oh no, it's not like that. No, no, he's not even a friend. He's just a client. This isn't even a thing." So he moves his futon away from her. And I did
Yeah.
notice when she served them, the innkeeper lady, when she served them the dinner, she didn't have any, and I was just like, "Yeah, there's crazy knockout gas in that or something." And as wouldn't you know it, they do fall asleep immediately. Which, as pointed out earlier, your man never falls asleep before her, the bodyguard. And I was like, yeah, that's fucked. There's something going on here.
Then a big monster shows up at the end.
Hmm. And the innkeeper woman was waiting for the monster nearly because it's like out her back window, and she has the shotgun with her, as she pointed out that she has. But she did say that guns don't work on the monster, and they were like, "Oh, we could kill it. We got a ray gun." Yeah, I think she's called it her Mackie Ray now. She's decided to name it that, like her signature thing. Oh, and the kid also has some kind of martial arts training. So it does seem a little unusual that you give him a bodyguard, except for the fact that she has a space laser, basically. One of the guys pointed out to us like, that's not even a real gun. It looks like a kid's toy gun. And she kind of proves by melting a lamppost on top of him nearly.
And the monster looks like a bird that's gone wrong.
Yeah, it's got a little too many extra eyes coming out its tentacle head, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It ain't right. And again, based on the kid inside the in the dome who was drawing, I think it was like a fish with loads of hands, and I was like, why does it have loads of hands? And he's like, for catching other fish. And it's like, is he also getting impressions of these things, or what's the deal with the dome? We don't know.
No, it's two sets of mysteries which may be joined together.
They do seem connected based off of things the characters keep
Yes.
saying and hints dropping. It's interesting. It's visually fucking lovely. I worry how uncomfortable it's going to be to watch week to week.
Yeah, that's the thing. The thing in the Wikipedia, I'm like, well, I hope that is pulled off in a non-stupid way because
See, that's the thing. Like
it could be a disaster.
again, because kind of a post-apocalypse thing. This one's more fantastical, obviously, but I was kind of reminded of Japan Sinks, which was a fucking gorgeous looking show, but I couldn't fucking watch. I was just like, nope, nope, done with this. That kind of way, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, well, we will see. No one's forcing us to watch it, so if it
Yeah.
goes bad. But the first episode is great. I'd recommend watching the first episode. So.
Mm.
Then it's Hell's Paradise, episode 1, The Death Row Convict and the Executioner. This is the entirety of the very first chapter of Hell's Paradise, which is a really long first chapter.
Oh, I was gonna say, was it one of those like first chapters that's like 60 pages or something like that?
90 pages.
90. Okay.
Yeah. So we meet our main characters, Gabi Maru, who's a ninja. He's been arrested. They're going to put him to death. The problem is his body has been super conditioned by being a ninja and is very hard to kill him.
And he wants to die. He's like, yeah, let's try another form of execution, and they go through a few different executions and explain them, and we watch each of them fail.
And he's been interviewed at the time between executions. He's being interviewed by a woman called Sagiri, and she doesn't believe him when he says that he wants to die, and it turns out she's right because his body betrays him. His body wants to live because he loves his curvy wife.
I liked it when you see he's going to be torn apart by bulls thing, that it kind of like just shows his legs being split, pulled apart by the bulls, but then you see his toes clench, and it's like, you're doing this on purpose, that kind of thing. Because when he's set on fire and everything, it's kind of like he just walks out and it's like, damn, I guess that didn't kill me either. It's like, you're resisting, you're actively resisting. Because he tells her his backstory where, yeah, I was in this ninja village and I was really good at assassination and stuff, to the point where I was abducted from my parents and raised as a ninja. I don't remember any of that. I don't hold any ill will. I did so well at being a ninja. I married the chief of the ninjas' daughter. But she was like weird and like really nice and thought we should like live happily and normally. Couldn't get on with that. So I went to the chief and got like, and he didn't say why. Like, it's like for a separation, so he could leave the village was the thing he wanted to say. But the chief's like, all right, I need you to do one last job. Chief sets him up for a fall, and now he's on the chopping block, but can't take the chop. And she's like, you left out the bit where you love your wife, and that's the reason why you wanted to leave. And he's like, fucking what? No, no way. No way, Jose. I don't love my really nice wife who loves me unconditionally. That would be weird. My nickname is the Hollow. There's nothing going on in here. He does, obviously.
Yes, because it turns out she's not just interviewing him; she's also the standby executioner uh, and sword tester.
Yeah, she's just seeing if he's according to the I can't remember what you call it in feudal Japan. Like the chief justice guy is like, oh, she's actually going to here to test the sword. Yeah, that's why she was asking you questions, which she claims to be while fighting him to the death. I mean, like he's grabbed one of the other guy's swords, just proving that he still wants to live.
But what she's actually here for is to find the death row convicts suitable for sending on a suicide mission to a magical island to recover the elixir of life.
Yeah, so as was pointed out earlier, one of the guys was warning her because everyone goes like, "You're just a woman. How can a woman do this job? A woman shouldn't get close to that guy. He's eating the fruit of life, and that's why those ninjas all live because they've eaten the fruit of life." But Heaven has showed up like what was it, southwest of the region or something like that,
yeah.
As an island. But every expedition they send there comes back in pieces, I think is the best way to say it. Made out of flowers might be the other way to say it. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. I was like, okay, did this come along before the Hunter x Hunter Dark Continent arc started? Because it's very similar.
Or did it get to the Dark Continent before Hunter x Hunter? Which wouldn't be difficult at this stage.
Oh no, because with the first chapter, it set the thing up. It's like, oh yeah, we sent some guys back, and the boat came back, and one of the people we sent had turned into flowers.
I feel like both of them are kind of riffing on some ancient thing of a magical land, like your Tiernan Ogs or whatever, where the rules are different, that kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. But I was just wondering if they were very close.
Inspired by that kind of thing. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I feel like given that Hunter x Hunter still hasn't done anything with it yet. Oh no, they're not close. No, this happened well after Dark Continent started 10 years ago.
They're still on the boat. Dear.
Yeah, I feel like anything that Hunter x Hunter has set up as a plot, I feel like you just go ahead and pick it. He's not going to get around to doing it.
Well, if he does, he's going to take his time doing it. So you might as well do it in the meantime. You might as well do a riff on a thing that hasn't happened yet. Why not?
Yeah, and obviously this is also like a Suicide Squad type and Dirty Dozen type situation.
I do appreciate the difference of I'm looking for death row convicts, so someone who presumably has done some sort of crime that makes them tough, but they need to have the will to live because it's pointless sending a Suicide Squad of people who don't want to fucking live.
Yes.
So that basically he has a pardon, which will pardon him from all crimes, and even the ninja clan won't be able to ignore. And you'll be able to go live with your wife if you come back with that. They call it the fruit of life or elixir of life or something.
I think they call it the elixir. I think they call what the ninjas use as a fruit, but I think it's just the elixir of life they've been calling whatever they're going to retrieve from this island.
So whichever of the death row inmates with a will to live comes back with this elixir, gets the full pardon. You only get the pardon up to doing this mission, basically. Other than that, it's entirely rescinded. Yeah.
It's like, okay, cool. Do you want to see some ninjutsu? I'm going to do some ninjutsu now. And then, unlike in the comic, at least the people he's standing on top of after he does the ninjutsu are groaning to indicate that they're still alive. Because in the comic, it just looks like he's murdered everybody in the room except for the head guy who she's got at sword point. And then, yeah, we can't go there straight away. We've got to go to Edo first. And he starts moaning. She's like, okay, do you want to end this deal then? He's like, no. She's like, God. As soon as he's relaxed, he starts moaning.
That is nice because he's a real sourpuss for the whole thing. And it's only towards the end that she kind of gets him as like, hey, you love your wife. And also you do have a will to live. And also now that you have a purpose, you're giving out all of a sudden. You're moaning at me. Yeah, it's funny because like, okay, he's going to have characterization besides being a sad sack. That's good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. I heard some people say this was a slow first episode. I thought it flew by.
Yeah, I mean, like I guess because they try multiple executions and go through those and how those work historically and how they're not working right now. and that's the visually interesting part. And then him kind of going over the story and them adding more elements to it. Maybe that they felt that was spinning its wheels, and I was like, no, they're adding more to the story or adding what he left out of the story, that kind of thing. I thought it worked quite well, yeah.
Yeah, it's introducing him, and you're learning about her as well, her personality at least.
Yeah, not the specifics, but kind of the way she acts and the way she
Yeah,
thinks. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Vinland Saga, Season 2, Episode 13, Dark Clouds,
Mm.
in which we're introduced to a new character, a slave who has escaped his master by murdering him and his family and setting the farm alight.
Yeah, see, it'd be one thing if it was just an escape slave, but it is like you totally like you literally burned all the bridges, kind of thing. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, and then meanwhile, we've got Sverkel's got problems. His body and then his mind start giving up on him.
Mm-mm.
And so it's basically Einar, Thorfinn, Arnheid, and Snake have got to look after him.
Yeah, because Thorfinn and Einar are initially just walking to the house, going like, "Hey, what are you going to do when you go free? Have you decided yet?" It's like, God, no, I haven't really fucking thought about it. Oh, I still got time to think about it. Do, and they're going to check in on the old man and chop some wood for him. And Snake's like, "Where's my dinner?" And it's like, "Wait, where's the old man?" It's like, Is he not here? We came to see him." And it's like, "Oh fuck, he's in the field. He's collapsed in the field." And so he's recuperating, and obviously our other woman has been sent there by the by Iran's wife. I guess not to she wouldn't bother taking care of her father-in-law herself, but sent her to take care of him instead. And so we get some nice family scenes where they kind of like, wow, that was so nice and lovely. I almost forgot I was a slave there for a minute. Which is like, God, that's really fucking sad.
Where
This
they're
whole
all
world
laughing
is
at
very sad.
Sverkel. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like it was laughing at him in a nice way. He's like, "Oh, I'm too proud to eat for you to feed me," and he's like, I'm not hungry. I'll eat later." And his stomach giving him away and embarrassing him, and they're all laughing because it's nice. It's just like, come on, dude, you do want to live.
And doing all this, they get the news that about the escaped Soleil from Fox, and they're told, "Okay, right, you're now patrolling 3 men. If you see him, come
Don't
back
go
and
after
ask."
him then.
Yeah, yeah,
Come back and we'll regroup a bunch of more guys. The reason I'm telling you go in groups of 3 is because this guy's got his back against the wall and is clearly dangerous.
yeah.
So you can't really tell what a guy who doesn't give a fuck anymore is capable of.
Of course, they Badger and Lizard fuck it all up when they do find him.
It's so fucking like you can see it happening where Fox is kind of like, guys, keep it down. He's right over there sleeping by that tree. And they're like, hey, if we bring him in, don't we get 3 horses? And like, yeah, but like keep it down. It's like, but if we get some more guys, we'll have to split the horses between us. If we get him now, it's 1 horse each. Let's fucking go. And it's like, hang on a second now, let's not. And Fox is like, keep it fucking down. And you can tell Fox is going to be the one who shouts, and he is. And Lizard is presumably dead.
Yeah, by the end of the episode, yes, because
Badger's badly chopped up, but
yes.
he seems to be still alive. Yeah.
Yeah, Fox and Badger show up at the end, and
Mm-hmm.
but before that, we got some other stuff going on. We've got Snakes reading the Bible to Sverkel, and Thorfinn's giving it a listen. Interesting ideas.
Yeah, and Snake seems to be like, oh, this is bullshit. I'm gonna skip back to the start for the cool bits. Enough about this forgiveness and shit like that. Like I like the fucking opening bit. That's crazy. It's because that's some cool shit.
Except because I don't think we ever learn what Snake's deal is, because it's like, okay, I think I was reading like the weapons he's using and the way he's dressed indicate that he's probably worked as a mercenary in the Byzantine Empire at some point.
He's a ways away. Yeah.
Yeah, he could read a fucking Bible.
Yeah, that's I. Actually, I forgot to fucking check the characters. Is it Norse or is it? I assume it wouldn't be Latin.
It's gonna be. I think it's gonna be Old English or Latin, or it might be whatever. And maybe it's not actually.
Actually, it probably would be
Bible
even more unusual if it was a
place.
Norse Bible. Yeah, but like Thorfinn straight up asked him, was like, "What's the deal with you and the old man?" And it's like you like, because we all care about the old man. He lent us a horse for chores and everything. He's been really nice to us as slaves. And Snake's just like, "Oh, when he croaks, I get this sweet fucking Bible that I'll be able to sell for lots of money because it's an expensive fucking thing to have a whole written Bible." And I was just like, I don't fucking believe you, Snake. You've
No,
read that
and
Bible until you fell asleep many times.
I don't think we ever learn. I think Snake will remain a
Ah,
mystery throughout once he leaves the story.
oh, that's a
Um,
pity.
Unless he's going to show up right at the end. Go, hi, I'm Snake. Let me explain what was going on all those years ago.
Oh, what if Snake is actually Saint Patrick? No, like I feel like the timing is way wrong there. But anyway, yeah, I guess that's a thing he was thinking of doing, but not doing much with. Or maybe they'll change it based off of the show to give him some kind of ending. But he's an interesting character
Yeah, I
anyway.
think it's just like I think it's like, oh, here's some historical things that don't make sense from what Snake says about himself. So you do the math, dear reader.
Okay, okay.
Because I think the main point is Thorfinn overhearing the Bible at this point is like,
And being interested because
yes,
he's looking for a different way of living than the Viking way of living.
yes, and then it's like, oh, and okay, so that's the stuff that Canute was into. Um,
Mm-mm. And Canute is enacting in a very non-forgive your neighbor or forgive your those who wrong you kind of thing. Hmm.
um, yeah, and then yeah, this escaped slave rolls up on his horse right at the end, and and Einhard says Gardahar because that is his name, and this is Arnheid's husband.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking for your man. It's just like, yeah, you should have asked her, was she like married, slave, kind of that kind of situation. What's her deal? But he's very awkward, is Einar. So, well.
Yep. There we go. So yeah, this is just impending doom happening, and this isn't, like I said, it doesn't even touch on all the other impending doom which was in the previous episode.
Mm, mm. There's an escape maniac on the loose, and not
Yeah.
not because he tried to free himself as a slave. That's entirely logical. The fact that he like brutally murdered the entire fucking farm.
Well, Snake was of
Uh,
the opinion that the guy had it coming to him.
oh no, he said specifically, I was like, oh that motherfucker, yeah, he treats these slaves really bad. I can see why one of them would murder him and his entire family and escape. Yeah,
Yeah.
because
So
again, and much and all as Kettle's farm is kind of like this is fucked up. Is like, oh, all the former slaves stay on as retainers. What a happy family! It's just like, yeah, you basically like bought your own workforce, and now they're kind of like, well, what else the fuck am I gonna do? I got nothing else. I was a slave. So it's insidious, but he does treat them a lot better. You gotta
yes,
give him that.
that's the other thing. It's a reminder that it could be worse for our heroes.
Yeah, yeah, and it's shitty, but it could be way fucking worse. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't worry, it will get worse.
Always the looming getting worse. I mean, like, yeah, that's I guess why this episode's called Dark Clouds. Yeah, that.
Yeah. Then we got Doctor Stone, New World, Episode 1, New World Map.
It's like was the prior special from last year still season 3, or is this episode 1 and that last one episode 0 or something?
Well, it's labeled season 32 on Crunchyroll's
Yeah,
amazing.
so that's what threw me completely. I was like, I don't have a fucking clue.
There was definitely some confused people who did not know that episode happened and were going, where has this pirate guy come from?
Oh, jeez, yeah. Because I mean, like, it's been yeah, that episode came out last year, didn't it?
It did, yeah.
The Ryusei special. Hmm.
It's
It's the Crunchyroll's yeah, it's the confusing Crunchyroll there's a new Doctor Stone. Oh, it's the German language of episode 8 or something like that. And so they obviously missed the special when it happened, and now that it's back, they're like, wait a minute, there's a brand new character that everyone knows instinctively. It's like, yeah, there was a special.
So the gist of this episode is in their attempt to find oil by building a balloon and mapping out the countryside, they also discover wheat, and so therefore they can make the village. How do they call it? They take them out of food poverty, is what they've been. They point out like it's odd that the village isn't much bigger based on how long ago it was formed. And that's because,
as Ryusui is like, being a greedy cunt in general, but also kind of going as like these beautiful ladies who have prepared the dish for me, and they're talking as like, oh wow, now that you found a bunch of wild goats and stuff using your magical air balloon thing, Um, we won't have to see people starve
Yeah.
anymore. That's nice because, like, as they point out, your one who's the other village chief, or the wife of the chief, or whatever. I don't know what that term is. All her family had died in the last time there was a big fucking food shortage, or the fishing was bad, basically, because that's all they got. All they got is fishing. So we're gonna bring them agriculture, because then you can make your own fucking food, and you can. I think the way, again, because he's a cynical motherfucker. He points out, it's like humans are kind of trapped by agriculture. You're trapped by crops. You can only grow as much as you can. You can only grow as a population as much as you can grow as on a farm. But now that they have access to farming, they won't fucking die. So
Yes.
that's nice.
And also, we need to make sure we've got enough food to feed all the people we're gluing together.
Yeah, they can't revive them now. As a point out, it was like, we could wake up all these guys and make them work. It's like, yeah, but we need to be able to feed them as well. So we need to get
And,
that bit sorted first.
and the other point of finding wheat is so they can make biscuits to take as rations for their sailing across the globe.
Yeah, they need long-term storage for food because, yeah, you're going to be sailing across the Pacific Ocean because they're going to South America. I think is the first stop, isn't it?
No, they're going to America. They're going
They're going across.
yes,
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
yes.
And then
They're
South
also
America.
they're
South
also
America
going.
ultimately,
They'll
but
be
yeah,
going somewhere else. Yeah, they're going somewhere else.
they
Then
don't know that
America.
yet. But
Yeah.
yes, we know from the opening they're going there first. But
Yes.
yeah.
But then it turns out, oh no, we're all terrible cooks. We cannot make biscuits. We've just made horrible, inedible black chunks.
I was looking at my thing the whole time because I was thinking that in the Reuseway episode. I was like, "Where's Francois?" I was like, "Isn't Francois supposed to show up?" I was like, "Oh no, actually, they don't show up for a bit." And then I was watching this episode. I was like, "Where's Francois?" It's like, "Oh, okay, we got there in the end." It
Next
was
episode.
post credits bit where they finally have wheat and the credits happen, and I was like, "Oh, that clipped along nicely." And then there's the end bit was like, "They can't cook bread to save their fucking lives." And it's like, "Ah, I see. Okay, there we go. That's great."
Yeah, bunch of idiots.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's great to have it back. I love all the characters, and of course, the other good thing about it now is it knows how the story's ending.
Yeah, that does give it a way of setting up stuff a little better. And it can do its thing. It went on the Minecraft comparisons like
Yes,
a lot in this episode, which is really funny. And that and trying to get the lads into agriculture by making it a contest. Because you're trying to convert fishermen and lazy cops into farmers, basically. Yeah, so it was quite good. I think a bunch of the actors had trouble getting back into the roles.
I've
Chrome especially.
noticed.
Chrome was all over the place. It's like his voice was breaking all over again.
I'll have to listen for that on the next episode.
He'll get the hang of it again. It was the same as I think last season. He had trouble starting it off again because there's big gaps, I suppose.
And yeah, Ryusei is now the third one of the cackling, conniving
Evil
members.
bastards who are our heroes. Yes.
Yes, even though quite often the other two cackling evil bastards are manipulating him. Uh,
Yeah, it's easy to manipulate greed and capitalism, but they do need greed and capitalism to drive them forward. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Uh, and what was this? Yeah, it was like inventing money will be a an easy way to. Well, also inventing money is going to help the people who they defreeze from the past, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, there will be a thing to achieve,
Yes.
basically. Yeah, yeah.
Um, we get some more background on like Taiju and like why he wants to help save the parents of various characters by gluing them back together because he never had parents; they died, so he can't bring them back. So
Yeah, we do get a bunch of stuff with Taiju. I actually forgotten the bit where we get into the farming contest, and he actually remembered the whole putting down lime from the
yeah,
crushed seashells thing. So he's actually a better farmer because he's remembered things his smart friend told him once.
yeah, tells you how to make your own litmus paper as well.
Yeah, again, at the end of it, it does say, "Do not try any of this shit at home. Don't try to fucking become a subsistence farmer. Don't fucking do it, kids. It's not worth it."
I'm pretty sure some stuff you could in this episode you could try at home. Probably
Yeah,
a lot of it.
can you do any damage by making litmus paper? I don't think you
I
can
don't think
really.
so. No, because they were just
No,
crushing up
it's just
particular plants to make it,
yeah,
weren't
flower
they?
petals.
Um,
Yeah, no, it's probably fine.
then it's Mashal, Magic and Muscles, episode 1, Mash Burn Dead and the Body of the Gods. It, did you know? I did not notice till I was just looking up now. It's the same lead as Hell's Paradise.
Yeah, yeah.
He's playing Mashal as well.
A good flat affectation that can get emotional, basically. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm.
So in this episode, we meet Mash Burn Dead, his adopted father, and I can't remember what the cop's name is.
God, he seems like such a main character, and he's really not going to be.
No, I'd forgotten about him until I watched this episode. I was like, oh yeah, I guess that guy should probably be showing up shortly in the comic.
Mm, mm.
God, he's got a
I forget
normal
his name, like
human
Chris
being name.
something. Yeah.
Yeah. So essentially, the
Damn it.
gist of it is this kid, Marshall, he's got no magic powers, and he lives in the magical realm where not having magic
Everything's magic.
powers is punishable
Everybody's
by
magic.
death.
Yep. Everyone's got a magical scar on their face that is a different shape and on a different part of their face, but it's a big indicator you can do magic, and he doesn't have any of that. So he keeps calling him like grandpa, but he's thinking of himself as Mash's dad. Where he's just like grandpa's just like just do weight training for self-defense purposes and never go into town if I'm away. I'm just gonna be I'll be gone down the road. Just stay in home. And he's like, no problem, grandpa. But there is a cake sale, or specifically a cream puff sale.
Yes.
So he gotta get that cream puff.
Gotta get that show pastry. Yes, Brad Coleman's the cop. Yeah, so
Brad Coleman. Yeah, yeah.
he goes to get the pastry. He runs into a fat alcoholic cop he rips the shirt off. He then runs to Brad Coleman, and they chase after him. Magic. After his granddad slash dad saves him and takes him back to the cottage, where we've learned earlier that despite living in this cottage for 15 years or so, he has not worked out which way the door hinges work.
Mash is dumb. He's dumb in a way that he doesn't think. Like he doesn't give a fuck to think, and that's going to be consistent. Where he's just like, I don't know if the door opens in or out, so he busts open the door that way. And I did like the dad kind of scene. Like he has to forgive him because he's like, oh, sorry, dad. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's like, oh, I have to forgive him. He's really repentant. But him opening the door for him, it's like, here you go, letting him out. It's like, because he'll only break the door again.
Yeah, so Brad uses his magic to track them down. We get Regro Burned Dead, the dad slash granddad's flashback of like how he was really, really shitty at magic and was disowned by his family, and he was about to throw himself off a building at age 60 years old when he found a small child, and that gave him a reason to live. And he
The small
raised
child
this.
had no scar, so he was obviously abandoned. And he's like, well, the child needs me. That now something needs me in this world, and that's why he absolutely dotes on Mash. Yeah.
So Brad is Regro's trying to tell Mash to run away, or he runs away. Mash is hiding outside, and he said, "Don't come in, don't come in." And he's like, "Okay, he must be out there somewhere." But then Mash comes in, he has a fight with Brad. Brad uses magic against Mash. It doesn't work. He's firing off these magical balls, and Mash keeps on doing stupid things with them, like juggling them or
Like
doing a
initially
kickback.
he pats it down, but like juggling it or dribbling it around the overweight cop, just not behaving by the. It's like, wait a minute, that's a magical ball of destruction. How is he just playing with it? That's not a thing.
He's like, "Can I borrow your wand, Dad?" And then hurls Regro's wand like a dart at Brad, and then that's enough to Brad. He's like,
I
"Okay."
love his reaction of, I didn't know you could use a wand like that. Just lob it
Yes,
at someone.
because it shattered his magical shield.
Hmm.
And then Brad's like, "Okay, right, I'll make a deal because obviously I clearly can't beat you. So uh, I'm going to help you get into the school, the magic school, and if you become a divine visionary within a year, that's it. You'll be considered a magician, and so therefore people won't want to try and kill you."
Because we did see him earlier in the episode watching the latest Divine Visionary and going like, "Oh man, these motherfuckers think they're so hot shit," and he has someone in prison who he's been torturing. You don't know he's a cop up to this point, but
No.
when he's revealed as cop, it's like, oh, okay, that's how we're going.
Yeah, apparently he used to be the part of the security force. Like I said, I don't think we get too much more on Brad, even though we
No,
get
not really.
hints here. I guess it's the gears shifted after the first chapter, as many of these
Yeah,
comics
yeah.
do. Um, I guess you've still got to have the same setup in the anime because who knows? Brad may show up in this final arc in the comics. So I
Shut up.
guess
Time to pay Brad. Everyone pay
yes,
Brad for helping save the day.
or just once the day is saved, Brad will show up and go, "Well done, Mash." That'll be a nice wrap up, a nice circular
Mm.
wrap up in a really stupid Mashal type fashion. Um,
Yeah, and it's got a good few jokes in it. The basic premise being that this child is far too fucking muscular.
yeah,
Like he's not like giant and swole, but he is incredibly strong, basically, impossibly strong. Like there's a rules and there's magic and there's rules within magic and the power levels of magic, but he's functioning as a Popeye type character where it's just like, yeah, fuck
yes.
those rules. I'm a cartoon character.
And in fact, is a guy who's super athletic, who also thinks the best way after doing your reps, the best thing to do is eat a cream puff pastry.
Now, to be fair, now I've not gotten even close to that level of fucking swollenness, but I do calorie count to the point where if I do exercise, I'm like, that's an extra bit of chocolate for me, and it's worked out for me, but it doesn't work out for everyone. I don't think in the same way.
I
No,
don't think Mash is calorie counting.
no, 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 no,
Because
no.
I
But he's doing a lot of
suspect,
reps, like yeah.
yeah, I suspect that he'd be coming up short if he was, to be honest.
You don't think the cream puffs are helping him pack on the muscle? Yeah, yeah.
Well, yes, we will learn much later on that despite being super strong, he's actually been training incredibly badly. Uh,
Yeah, he just goes out, does like the 1,000 pound like barbells, like within 5 minutes, does 1,000 reps or whatever the fuck, scaring all of the chipmunks and whatever that are watching him. But yeah, he's a weird fucking character, and we're gonna get more of his weirdness, I think.
yeah, it's I think like the stereotypical. Obviously, it's very much Harry Potter parody, but there's like the chipmunk stuff, like the fairy tale stuff, is also there.
Yeah, yeah, it does have some elements of fairy tale. I didn't realize. I'd have to go back and check that first chapter again because when he gets the cream puffs, it's from Goblin Patisserie, and there is a
Yes.
goblin in the background cooking. And I was like, wait, I thought the goblins just showed up towards the end. There's been goblins in it the whole time. But yeah, who knows?
Yeah, I've because I binged like 100 chapters at once. I'm not entirely
Yeah,
sure the order in which the events will be happening, so
that'll make it fun.
it will make it fun watching it because this was a
Hmm.
fun watch. I really like the stuff when they introduce people, and like the text they put on the screen
Yeah, yeah,
to
yeah.
introduce them. It's got some good design and color uh, approaches
That's
to
one of
it.
the things I was worrying about, like the visual look of it, because it's a great comic. And but this has enough of a visual identity that I think it's actually coming out pretty fucking strong.
Yeah, yeah. Even if the animation is just like it's fine. It's not not.
As long as it gets across the joke, that's the important part.
That's the thing. Yeah, because
Mm.
uh, one thing which I watched, which I didn't put on the list to talk about, was is it called Magical Destroyers? Is that what it's called?
Mm.
Um, where that needed both either a better script or better animation to sell its premise.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Or performance sometimes can do it, but yeah.
I mean, I think the performances are fine on that. It's
Mm.
just I was like, oh, I've not. There's a few jokes here, but it's not really making me laugh. And I can see the other thing is where you can see what they're grasping for,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you're like, oh, you're not reaching it. Because the thing I'd compare it to, like clearly visually, it wishes that it looked like a Trigger show. Uh,
yeah,
and writing wise, I'd compare it to Magical Girl Ore, but it's not reaching the heights of the gags in that.
yeah. Like that one, that the gags tend to come pretty fast in a
Yeah,
good
I
way.
didn't. Yeah, it didn't look great, but it had great gags to make up
Mm,
for
mm,
its fairly perfunctory animation. Whereas this has
mm.
kind of just got a perfunctory script and slightly above perfunctory animation, but you can see it's what it's grasping for. It's not reaching. However, what makes it worse is the opening is fantastic, and you watch the opening and you'll be like, "Oh, I want that show," and you've not given me that show.
Yeah, yeah. You've been sold the wrong fucking. Like you were looking at the packaging product, and it's like
Yeah.
that's not what's inside.
And they
Yeah.
wisely put the opening at the end for the first episode, so you've watched the first episode before you get the ending. I think the ending's by the same people who did the opening for Vlad Love, in terms of the animation, like the collage type stuff.
Okay.
It's well worth looking for the opening for Magical Destroyers, I will say that. And hey, I see people do enjoy it, but I was like, maybe it's a case of I watched too much anime and I can see what it's grasping for and it ain't reaching it.
Yeah, that happens. On not on the list. I watched the My Home Hero just out of curiosity.
I guess we
Uh,
could have watched that because did watch that as well. That's another thing which doesn't quite reach what it's grasping for, I thought.
Man, that opening, man, with the bad walk cycles and shit is like there. That's where you want your walk cycles to be on fucking point at least. Like Jesus. But yeah,
Uh, yeah, the kind it's definitely has like a Death Wish type sleaziness to it of like
yeah, yeah.
appealing
And
to like aimed at an audience of dads who go, "Oh, I'd do time for it. If they're under me, I'd do time."
see, this I was thinking about what really kind of bugged me about watching it, and it didn't occur to me until today. Because the basic thing of episode one, what's it called? From today, I am a killer. This guy who's got like 2-star reviews for his mystery novels on Goodreads or whatever the fuck is trying to meet up with his daughter who's living away from home for the first time, and she's getting beat up by her boyfriend, and he's a sleazy yakuza type, and he gets in trouble for tailing them, and he can't go to the cops about it. So he's like, I'm going to take the opportunity while hiding in my daughter's closet to brain this guy with a rice cooker. Is basically the thing. And the man is on board immediately to cover up this fucking crime. I was like, good for standing by your man. But and then he possibly has to kill another guy who's part of this whole yakuza fucking thing. And I was just like, all right, this seems like very, yeah, like you say, very dad fiction of I'd go to jail for them kind of thing. I'd murder for my kid, that kind of thing. And the thing that I didn't realize why I didn't it didn't vibe with me. It wasn't until today where I went to the post office and I was queuing for 20 minutes and a guy cut in the queue behind me, and I was like, the fuck? Because like other people were there for like 15, 20 minutes after me, and I was like, dude, the back of the queue is that way. And he threatened to like box my jaw off or something. It wasn't a very clever insult, but I was just like, all right, fine, whatever, I'll just fucking work away. And I was annoyed about it, and it raised my heckles. And I looked up online, I was like, what's the correct way to deal with this kind of rudeness? And instead I just found like comebacks, and it's like, well, one thing you could say is I have a gun. And I was like, whoa, calm down, there's no need to fucking threaten a man with death or anything. That's a bit mad. And that's what bugged me about it. I don't get that kind of thing where it's just like I need to murder people out loud out in real life. I don't get that feeling, so I don't need to see it in fiction.
No, the thing it's going for it is the final reveal of the dad of the guy he's murdered, and
That character seems interesting. Yeah,
and
I
him
will say
talking
that.
about you'd do anything for your kid. It's like, oh, okay, so it's going to set the pair of the two dads on a collision course for each other.
One with all the power and one with no power, because one's like a head of a mafia and the other
Well,
one's
no,
some
but he's
fucking
not. He
guy.
doesn't appear to be head of mafia because
He,
he's having to put on fake voices when he answers the phone.
he's organizing some kind of mafia, but
Yes,
he has more goons under his control than this 2-star author, basically. Yeah.
yes. But the problem is that might have been enough, but it kind of looks like shit as well.
It does. That's the other fucking thing. Yeah, that's not helping.
No, this is a shame because I was like, oh, if this looked good, it would probably be enjoyable trash. Even though, yeah, it did give me that sort of dad fiction.
It could be very enjoyable trash done right, but yeah, not really like my world on fire from that first one.
Anyway, things which were on the list to talk about. We've got one more thing, and that is Birdie Wing, episode 14, A Certain Truth Sleeping in the Girl's Memories, which it turns out everyone's got superpowers now.
Yeah. All right. I am down for slightly different superpowers based on golf, but I'm fine with that. That's okay.
Yeah, so they're in the semi-finals of the pairs competition, and they're up against the girls from the orange costumed school.
Yeah, I've forgotten all the school names at this
Yeah,
stage.
so one of
I'd
them
forgotten that the end of the last episode that they reminded me in this one that if Aoi does better than her, she'll give her a kiss. So that's what Aoi's playing for in the first part.
Yes.
And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that whole.
Whereas she's playing for burgers.
Yeah, that she has to make it a gamble, and that's how she can win. Yeah.
Yeah, and their coach used to coach the better of the two girls on the opposite team, but we see flashbacks that she was warned you shouldn't rely on your in the zone.
Yeah,
Um,
if you rely on if you use it too much, then your golfing you can't get into it anymore, and your golfing gets really sloppy. So I want you to work on fundamentals, so you don't have to rely on it as much. He's like, no, I'm an average golfer without the zone, and I was like, but if you practice, you could be a better than average golfer,
yes,
and also have your in the zone superpower where you can
uh,
see flowers and blooming to the direction you
yes.
need to send the ball.
The current coach has taught her to take it one more level, which is in the zone deep, a more
Hmm.
powerful version. Uh,
So when she goes too far in the zone, the flowers start blooming everywhere. But then when she goes deep, like she can actually control that flower field that she finds herself in. It's weird.
it is weird, but also everything seems to be color coded because they talk about her using the orange when she
Yes.
sees her doing that, because that turns out to also be another one of the bullets in Eve's chamber at the end. She can also
And
do the in the zone.
her partner as well, that of the in the zone one, she can see like in a version of the orange where she can see the different paths
Yeah.
converging. So she's in a really good advisory role as a partner. But they are working together as a team. It's like if I fuck up, you can pick up the slack for me, that kind of thing.
Yes.
But they're basically drawing on every fucking hole.
Yeah. The other girl goes into the red at one point as well on one of her
Yes, yeah, yeah,
shots.
yeah.
So it does
It's
seem
more
to be
red than
like
orange. Mm.
seems to be like different color coded golf superpowers you can access. Eve's
One's got a
differences.
paramecia based golf power, another one's got a fucking yeah, yeah.
And because Eve's been trained by Shah Aznavour, she has access to all these powers because we learn about that guy. He's just been traveling the world trying to understand the mystery that is golf. And there's only one guy who's ever been able to beat him, and that is his dad, quote unquote. I'm pretty sure it's not her dad by the end of this
No,
episode.
pretty sure it's not. But the other thing is we get the is it Amaru is the coach?
Yes.
It just still amused me. The Amaru says it's like, oh Eve, I asked you out tonight because I wanted to ask you, were you trained by this guy? Because I played him on some fucking sea stacks during a storm in the Gulf Wars, I
Yeah,
assume.
that was
Um,
full. That was very much a full on pro golfer Saru type
yeah.
course, of which we
So
better have some by the end of this series.
yeah, yeah, he beat me in that, and I've never picked up a golf club again, even though he's holding golf clubs at the end of in the end credits and stuff, but not properly. He's just moving them, I guess. But so he killed me in golf, so I can never play golf again. And I just wanted to confirm that your mysterious backstory related to this pro golf assassin. Yeah,
Yeah. So the
strange stuff.
additional thing is when he found her, it was like, "Oh, you're the one," he said. Uh,
Because he wanted to know what's her relation to him. Yeah.
yes. Um, it's pretty clear. Well, at least it seems pretty clear by the end of this episode that the Amaru coach is actually his dad.
Yeah.
Because of they point out he called her by her first name when she falls over for using the too big a club. Um,
Yeah, I assume that was because your one fancies the coach, and it's just like, oh, use their first name. How personal? It's just like,
yeah,
no, it's the
it-
relationship is different than you think it is, basically. Yeah.
and the man who she thinks is her dad is actually Eve's dad, but has a different mother because it does not appear to be his mother in the vision that Eve has at the end of the episode when she activates the in the zone for herself.
Yeah, she does the orange bullet, and as the coach pointed out to her, it's just like I've only seen 5 of your 7 bullets, your color coded bullets, but
Yes.
she has to knock it out of the rough because Aoi has fucked up her shot, uh, because she's overexerted herself. She's got
She
the golf
used
sickness,
she used the
the extra
club
long
that
club.
they were told she was warned her body is not strong enough yet to use such a
Yeah,
long club in a
and
definitely not laden with innuendo conversation.
no, no, no. And the other guy's watching is like, oh, the other team have this because if it goes to, I think it's sudden death. I was going to say extra time. It's not extra time in golf. Then the more physically adept team will win, and they're like, no, these guys will win. But it seems to be draining Aoi and using the extra big club is too difficult for her, so she needs to finish it in this one shot. So she pulls out the orange bullet, which is a sniper bullet. It turns
Yeah.
out, but also gives you visions, and that's why she doesn't like using it. Oh, that's good shit.
Yeah, and so she gets to the hole by aiming at the flag, which then stops the ball and it falls down into the hole. And
Hmm.
then the coach says, "That shot it was only ever done by," and then whatever the Aoi's dad's name is. So it's
Hmm.
like, there we go. I mean, the vision she had is basically the picture we've seen of the dad, anyway. Um,
The
but with,
picture of him golfing in his prime that the
yeah,
mother has blown up to a huge size in the
yeah,
office, that kind of thing.
easily recognizable. I don't think we've seen the woman before.
No, no.
Um,
So hopefully it'll turn out that these two girls aren't related because one of them wants to make kissy faces at the other. So let's not
yeah,
make it weird by making them even half sisters,
yeah,
please.
yeah. They're just going to be stepsisters who never knew each other. I think is the
But then it'll be weird.
yeah. It's going to be weird or whatever. This is the Valkyrie Drive writer, so just be
Yeah,
thankful
yeah.
it's not even weirder.
Hmm.
Uh, so yeah, that's it. They've all the vision stuff happens after the credits. There's like a massive chunk after the credits of
Yeah, again, I thought it was like,
the
oh, that
final
moved along at a
hole.
fair clip, and then I actually looked at the time. I was like, oh, there's loads left after the credits. All right.
Yeah, the people that are going to be in the final are constantly arguing over. One of them's more intelligent than the other one. The other's going, no, 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 no. Even AOE going to win. They're going to win.
Hmm.
It doesn't look like they're going to
She's
win,
like,
but they're going to win.
she's identified them as the main characters of the show. Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to be facing them. So, so I guess the question is, what's up with AOE? She should not use was it like 48-inch club? Um,
You gotta train to use that specialized Gundam. I mean golf club. Yeah.
and he was like, "Oh, while it was fun working together as a team, now she's collapsed. It now feels like I can play my sort of golf again. Um, now I've got to rely entirely on myself. That's the sort of golf she wants to play. So,
I think the only reason she was doing well in the doubles is because she kept gambling with her partner, so she was
yes.
playing against her the whole time to try and play a
Also,
slightly better
just
game.
constantly being mean to the other players.
Like being a real dick, like sinking it right after them, like calling out a thing to not quite mess up their shot, but come close to messing up their shot. It's like don't let her get to you. She's using her bad girl tactics to try and throw you off your game. It doesn't work, but it's still kind of a dick move.
Yeah. It's like, well done. You managed to get the ball further than they did and also make them haters.
Dear.
But yeah, it was good to see it back. I mean, it literally felt like it just had carried on from where it left off because it had. Um,
Yeah, like it literally did. Like the opening hasn't changed or nothing. But the like with Doctor Stone, it's meant a bit at the start, like catching you up is like, hey, remember this thing that happened recently? But like for you, the viewer, a while fucking back. But this was just like, oh yeah, it's like I've never fucking left. It's not that complicated in the world of golf. I just can't remember any of the fucking teams.
that's it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I can't remember the names of any of the other people they're going to be playing against,
Mm-mm.
or indeed any of the other girls on their own team. I think I did know the one with the bad haircut who's in love with Eve as well, but knows she's not going to get anywhere before. But I can't
Mm.
remember her name now because she is kind of my favorite character. Uh,
Yeah, they're caddy slash trainer characters. I'll probably get to know them a bit better, and it might be easier for me now that we've identified different fucking color chakras of golf. I guess.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it is fun now that everybody's getting superpowers
Mm-mm.
rather than just Eve.
Who has all the superpowers?
She does. Her power is she's got all of the powers. There's still
Ah,
another
dear.
color we've not seen her use yet because
Mm-mm. I'm
we've
trying to
seen
think.
what.
We've seen putter, driver, obviously wedge now. Was sand wedge a separate one? I think that was a separate one.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Uh, and now we've seen a sixth one now, so I'm missing two. Doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Two
I can't
other
remember which.
clubs.
I can't remember what all the other guns are. Because you did the shotgun as well. This, which was the one which is loud and also goes far
The
to scare the
shotgun
player.
is, yeah, it's like a long putt, I think, is the shotgun.
No, that was the one which when they were. It was one of her. It was when she was teeing off, and she put it like much further. The other
Oh,
girl
yeah,
did a
it
red
was a
zone
straight low
thing. Yeah,
drive. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right,
and
you're right.
yes, it was low and loud,
Mm.
as if to scare the other player. Right. Oh, and yeah, of course, there's yet more things starting next week. Right. Okay. What else have we got coming up that we might want
Mm.
to add? Nobody has picked up Book Detective, unfortunately, so that will still
What can you do?
remain a mystery. There is the Marginal Service. That was the thing where they were all nude on the promo shot
Okay.
initially, and then they had clothes on. Um, he also has a talking squirrel in it, I think. So,
Hmm.
and everybody's got like really, uh, really wacky names. Dead Mount Death Play. That's based on a manga. There's the 90-minute debut episode of Oshinoko. Uh, there is whatever this Ranking of Kings thing is. It's here in 2 days' time. We'll find out, I guess, when it arrives.
Hmm.
Uh, I think that might be it though. That's on my radar.
Okay. Oh, there's no new Conan coming up anytime soon, is there?
Oh, let's better check that as well while we're here. I don't. It doesn't seem likely because we've had in quick succession some
Yeah.
manga adaptation, even though one of them was just mostly highlight reel.
Hmm.
But let's check. Okey-doke. Black Organize. Let's say. Oh, are we actually have we actually been missing something?
Oh
Uh,
no.
yeah, I think we have. Yes.
All right, all
So we've
right.
got that to catch up with next week. I don't know. They went straight into new stuff. Jesus Christ. Okay, yeah, I missed that. March 25th, April the 1st. In fact, we've missed all 3 episodes.
What? Oh my god. That's why I have trouble following Conan because
Yeah.
trying to get to just the meat of it, basically.
Yeah, okay. God damn it. Yeah, there's 3 episodes. Black Organization Scheme, 3 episode run.
Oh dear, oh dear.
Better hop onto that because that sounds like it'll be important, given that
Mm,
it's got the
mm.
words the Black Organization in the title.
They don't tend to be in the side stories. Yeah.
Yes, I don't know whether this is going to be their scheme or the scheme of everybody. Yeah,
Trying to trick them.
maybe they had to do it quickly because maybe there wasn't like you couldn't leave it too long. It would strain credulity if there was. I mean, there was still like a month of filler in there anyway.
Mm, mm.
Uh, God damn it, I've been missing out on Conan. I could have been watching. Well, no, I'm doing tonight. Uh, that's it for this week. Then we'll be back next week on Wednesday with Niall.
Mm,
Assuming he hasn't got any more things to sign.
mm.
Um, and yeah, we'll be back with all the same and maybe more because who knows? Maybe there's other great things we missed.
Could be.
Could be. Yes, there was things I was tempted by, but I was like, no, no, no. Let's actually just watch. Well, in the end, 7 things.
Yeah, yeah. Not bad.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Rightio. That's it for now. Goodbye.